Welcome to Samso Insight. We're here today in Sydney as part of the RIU conference. I've got Justin Virgin here from Terrain Minerals. ASX code is TMX. Terrain has a market cap of 6 mil. Justin, welcome to Samso Insights.
Yeah, thanks, Noel.
Give us an intro of yourself and let's hear about Terrain.
Yeah, thanks, Noel, for having us here today. Terrain Minerals is a small ASX junior. We're an exploration company, predominantly WA-centric, probably because of COVID. We were stuck there, so we've picked some really nice projects up, which we're working. We've got a pipeline of projects, so we've got a few that are sort of up and coming while we're working on the current ones. I suppose the most exciting thing, I know you're doing VMS. We've got some land just south of that called Smokebush, and there's a project there we've been drilling out. We've been getting some gallium and rare earth hits there. There's 5,000 metres due to be released in about 3 weeks' time, and it's looking pretty encouraging. We're using 1,000 ppm cutoff. And I think gallium, it's sort of been topical the last sort of 6 months. China controls 98% of the gallium market. They turned it off last August. Basically, if you want galliums in, gallium chips, silicon chips are out. Gallium chips are in, they're faster, less energy. Basically, missiles, bombs, radars, AI, quantum computing. There's none of that without gallium. So it's interesting. And also photovoltaics. There was a patent expired a couple of years ago, and silicon chips in solar cells had metal in them that corrodes. German companies patent, they had gallium. Now over half the cells coming out of China now use gallium because they last twice as long and they also produce more power. So there's a big dynamic change, I guess, in the gallium market, and with China controlling most of it, and it's probably being in the industrial, in the military side of things, there's a security issue.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have mentioned it, and one of the commentaries I heard was that since they had that restrictions on the actual pricing has actually gone up more since then.
It has. It's interesting. We were talking to a Japanese group and they were sort of indicating they're paying 800,000 US a tonne, and that was before China turned it off. So when 98% of the market disappears, what happens to the price? We're not sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably gone up.
Yeah, I guess for the guys out there, the understanding that's rare earth projects can have rare earth elements. There's a suite of them, and and from my experience talking to over the last couple of years, a lot of these rare earth projects, everyone's slightly different. Everyone's got something, some component, but in terms of the chemistry and the grade, pretty much about the same most places, and the 1,500 to 2,000 ppm. And the depth of it, because obviously if you've got a regolith there, that's where you're going to see it. You're not going to see it on top of a outcrop, but you're going to see it in the regolith.
Ours is in a clay as well, so it's in that regolith zone between 20 to 90 metres.
Yeah.
Over sort of that 9 kilometres. So.
Yeah. So are you? I mean, you mentioned to me before. The assays are coming in from your drilling program and things like that. Is there something that you guys are aware of? I'm not saying that you're focusing on it because obviously you don't know what's going to come out, but
we've put out some early results. So we were originally there looking for chasing some polymetallic targets because we're just down from Golden Grove, and also Venture Metals also next to Golden Grove. So we tested the bottom 10 to 12 metres of the holes, and we didn't do any testing above because we were really looking at that interface, and we just saw a lot of gallium and a lot of rare earths, and good enough to use 1,000 cutoff. And then we just realised, well, hang on, what's above it? So we've now gone back, put those samples in, and so there's about 5,000 due out shortly, which is very exciting because there's potentially quite a lot of a big area there.
Okay.
9 k's by 2 k's, potentially even bigger, mineralised. So I think I think it's looking like we're probably going back and do some more drilling. It's all air core.
Yep.
I imagine it's probably going to be like kilometres lines, maybe 500 spacing over the whole area, and we can pull something together reasonably quick.
Would you say that's your focus project at the moment, Smokebush?
I guess it is. We are focusing on it, but we've also interestingly enough, we had a project down Lort River where we're down there doing rare earths gallium as well, when we're sort of talking Smokebush more because we need better grades. But we've just recently pegged a block of land in between our tenements down there.
Yep.
And I think sure everyone remembers Serious Resources Nova Bollinger discovery, which I think IGO is still mining and making good profit from it. We found a Nova I lookalike. It's about 300 kilometres south of Nova Bollinger.
Yep.
Typically in Canada, they get a similar sort of belt. Every 300 to 600 k's, there's a repetition. No one's ever found one north of it. Perhaps they're in the south. So, there's got to be another one out there. Fortunately for us, when we're doing our review, the government's doing a 20k grid VTEM across the nation, mainly for water. But it actually picked up an anomaly roughly where Nova is on the Nova eye, on our eye. So we've got a sulphide target.
Yep.
What type of sulphides, we don't know.
Yep.
With this exploration.
Yep.
We've just started a VTEM survey yesterday. We've announced it in ASX. So we're doing a proper survey over it, and we want to get there and drill these things.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll find some more. So, there's potentially a big upswing there for our shareholders.
Yeah, okay.
As well as the Smokebush Project as well. And on the gallium side, we've had interest in people who are still talking to us of coming in and assisting us, potentially joint venture sort of scenarios, which we've spoken about in our ASX releases.
As I mentioned before, in the intro, you got a swag of projects, and some exploration companies need that kind of spread of projects, right? And a lot of people, as you mentioned yourself, people get drawn in and trying to make success out of something that's looking like not a success, maybe not due to technical issues, but more into funding, right? Because you've got to fund yourself through all these projects. Can you just run through some of the projects, because some of them look quite interesting?
Yeah, we've got a pretty good little package. We've got a couple live, and we've got a few that are up and coming that we've secured. And we like to have, I guess, things to move on to, because if you do kill something off, or for whatever reason commodity falls out of favour, you need to better move on. So we've pegged a large block of land up in the lithium belt, just out of 90 k's out of Port Hedland. So it's near Wildcat, north of Pilgangura. There's about 850 square kilometres. We've been working through some objections there, and they're almost all done. I'm very positive and excited. I think over the next 3 to 4 months we should get them granted. The whole area is 3 metres undercover. No one's ever done work there. It looks like we're in the right geology for that lithium. Might be some gold, I don't know. So we plan to get up there once they grant it and do some soils and some air core once we get some soil data back. But there's not many. Well, I don't think there's any little juniors who got strategic land packages in the Pilbara. We're lucky to peg it.
That's the name of the game sometimes, isn't it? That's where the luck comes in.
There is a bit of luck in moving quick,
Yeah.
and we try and do that. Most of our projects we've pegged ourselves.
Yep.
Put them together.
Okay. Look, that sounds great. I mean, in terms of exploration company, I'm an exploration geologist, good or bad, but I think I like to see the spread of projects, and I think it's, again, it's all luck. I mean, there's a big luck portion of what we do, right?
Absolutely. But if you're looking, you do find stuff too, so you need to be out there. And we try and be very active.
It's they say you've got to create your own luck to some degree.
We've got a pretty tight register. Our shareholders are very supportive, so we're lucky there, and we've tried to work on that.
Yep.
So we've done in Sydney, we had a little shareholder night, and a lot of people come along. That's an important part of our business.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, engaging with shareholders or potential shareholders is very important these days.
Absolutely.
Look, any last words? Maybe I try and give people this moment to sell your soul and get them to buy your stock.
Yep. Look, I guess another plug for another one of our projects. If you look at our Billawheeler project in Queensland, there's a large parcel there. We've just been held up with a couple of companies over 15 years and no work done on it. It's 2,500 square k's north of Krakow, and sort of in the Queensland gold copper belt. Some of the majors have held it over the years, have identified targets, and for whatever reason they haven't followed them up. We've done a field trip up there, and you can see secondary copper hanging out of the ground, which is very encouraging.
Yeah.
So there's stuff going on. There's some historic mines, copper mines and gold mines there from the turn of the century. So we're pretty keen to get on there as well. And I guess the Pilbara lithium story, as well as Queensland copper gold, is sort of where the company's going to. Obviously we want the the Lort River nickel copper to come in, and that'll be the company maker. But we've sort of got that nice sort of trail of other commodities and commodities that are typically quite popular at the moment that we're sort of getting on with as well.
Yeah,
Working out in the background.
I mean, when people talk about commodity pricing being lower now, but I think yesterday there was an interesting talk in the morning. I think people forget that these kind of things takes decades to really fruit. Very seldom you get the odd one out where you can do. Nova's one where they did the whole bit from exploration to mining in just over 3 years, I think. But then again, that's really unique kind of deposit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's commodity price will fluctuate over time, and people caught the death of coal 10 years ago. It's doing really well still. I mean, that's just the way we do things, yeah?
Yep.
So look, Justin, thanks for your time. As I said, it's good to follow this kind of stories, and I hope we'll keep following what you guys do.
Thank you for having us today and give us the opportunity to get the story out there. I think, for investors who like the smaller end of the market with a lot of upside, they'd be getting into a company that does a lot of work and proper geological work and are testing some pretty exciting targets. So we're not just a one-pony race.
I think that's what people need to understand is that although companies like yourself have many projects, it's about leveraging one over the other over the space of time with the limited funding that we're all trying to have.
Yeah. So it's allocation, but
Yeah, one lucky hole and the world changes. Right?
Absolutely. So it's interesting. We've got a lot of people. If you get a good sweep of projects, you do get the followers, and you do get other companies looking at what you have. So I think we're in a pretty good space at the moment, and we're very excited about the results. And over the next sort of 3 weeks, there'll be results out, and over the next couple of months with our VTEM survey down in Esperance, it's potentially a very exciting period for Terrain.
Okay, well, Justin, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Yep, thanks, Noel. Thank you.
All right, see you.
Great.